of you, who in this room has ever been betrayed? Come on. Who of you has ever discovered that through Skype or Facebook or whatever, that the love of your life was cheating on you? I see some hands there. Who of you has been betrayed by close family, friends, colleagues that you thought you could trust with all your heart? And who has been betrayed by life in itself? By an almighty power who was supposed to look after us? Yeah. Well, me too. I've been shaped by the most feminist and the strongest woman on this planet, my mom. An original woman wearing bright colors and playing theater. A smart woman who introduced me to the world of words and books. A fierce lioness who would have killed for her children. My mom taught me how women ought to be respected and how children ought to be loved and protected. She taught me how to fight for my convictions and not to let anybody step up on me. Such a strong woman, and yet, little by little, she crumbled into depression. I saw her in and out of clinic, stuffing herself with medicine, struggling with deep anxiety. She used to call me every day, 10 times a day, to be reassured. I became the pillar for my pillar. But no matter how much I loved her, no matter how much I tried, I did not manage to fully save her and protect her. And on a bright, sunny day of August, she actually broke the promise she made me to always be there for me. She decided to stop fighting. And at that moment, I thought, who can I believe now? Who can I trust? People who tell you, yeah, I will love you every way, all your life. I will be there for you. Really? Really? So, who can I trust now? And from that point, which I'm sure all of you have lived at one moment of your life, I thought I had two options. Either bury myself into resentment and bitterness, cynicism, or try to make the best out of it and move on. I could stop trusting myself or the others, or I could keep on betting. Betrayals lead to fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear that the pattern would repeat itself and that we would get hurt again. But we cannot let this fear limit us, condition our existence, and jeopardize our opportunities. Bad news is all over the place. Gang rapes in buses in India, terrorist attacks in Somalia, and even yesterday in Nairobi. We've got demonstrations crushed by the police here in Tunis, or women assaulted on Tahrir Square. Every time you go on a trip, you've always got a very nice friend who is there telling you, okay, you know what, I heard that somebody, a tragic story which makes you have fear and not want to trust anybody there, right? But we cannot let this fear limit us. Because actually, this fear is limiting the trust that we can put in people. So I came from a very small village in the Pyrenees, in the south of France. A kind of secluded place where any alien element to this confined environment is considered as a threat. Who is that? Where does he come from? I heard that. So, like Rami said before, when I blindly give my keys to complete strangers on Airbnb, my friends are like, I mean, how can you feel okay about that, right? I mean, if they do something, if they steal something. I decided to trust, to make this conscious decision, and to give a leap of faith. Why? Why, if at the end of the day I lived a major breach of confidence, and why, if we're all raised in an environment where nobody is advising us to trust, why do I still decide to keep on betting? Well, first, because we have to put things into perspective. Out of the many trustworthy friends and colleagues we have, how many actually betrayed us? And out of those, was it really a betrayal? Are we seeing the big picture, or are we only focusing on our own feelings, on ourselves, on our pain? Did my mom really break her promise, or was it more complex than that? And even ourselves, did we never break any commitment that we made? So I decided to keep on trusting, first because after the first moments of pain, I realized we are all human. And I had to embrace this uncertainty. Life gives you surprises, right? Trust is a conscious decision, a human and moral commitment that you make to believe, and which makes you feel secure in an unsecured world. But it makes you understand that you cannot control everything, that even the best to-do list will not prevent bad things from happening, and that you have to let go. It makes you more understanding. But let's be honest, I'm very pragmatic, so if I decided to keep on trusting, it's especially because it's a high-yielding bet. Even if it's more risky, it's 10 times more rewarding. Let's imagine you're in a casino for a moment. You enter, you've got some money, and you're like, okay, you've got two choices again. Either you're very cautious, you say, okay, I'm gonna see, I don't want to lose any money, or you try to gamble, to bet, and to multiply your assets. Well, trust is a gamble, but it's a gamble with open cards. You can decide to live in an isolated bubble and to keep trust for yourself just in case somebody will steal from it. Or you can decide to take risks and perhaps lose a little on it, but multiply these assets. And the chance you actually multiply your initial capital are exponential. Because trust is a multiplier of opportunities. It opens you up instead of shutting you down. It is the layer, the mortar of any human connections. And these human connections are actually the door to infinite opportunities. When I started organizing TEDx in Barcelona, I was amazed, a little like here, by the quantity of people who volunteer to help you do the website, who help you with the room, with the registrations. I mean, 80 people here. So you have so many amazing people who are here to help you once you start moving. I once was connected to Sabrina, a crazy Brazilian woman, through a friend of mine who told me, okay, you definitely have to talk to her. So I come back home, I go on Facebook, as we do, and I look for her, and I ask her as a friend. She accepts, and we start chatting. And it turns out she was in the neighborhood. So I tell her, okay, come over. So after a few minutes, okay, I didn't know of this woman before. After a few minutes, she's here, sitting on my couch, having a cup of coffee. And out of nowhere, she's giving me amazing contacts and advice to see how I can organize TEDx, etc., etc. And through this, I got amazing speakers, amazing friends, and people who helped me make my project come true. So just because I trusted her out of nowhere and we shared a simple cup of coffee, all these connections opened and multiplied organically. Because trust is a self-fulfilled prophecy. If you trust yourself and the others, you exude confidence. People trust you and things actually happen. If you really think that what you do will have a positive outcome, it will. And not because of magic, but because your whole attitude towards it, your drive, will make people feel secure and want to follow you. It's a catch-22. It's a virtual circle which constantly fits itself. And this trust while gamble this amazing bet is so important because now our most valuable asset in this society is actually our social capital. So this is not a personal bet. It's not orally saying, okay, we definitely have to trust. As Rami said, or Joël, we're now entering a liquid environment of open source, open crowd, where ideas flow freely, and it's definitely more valuable to connect than to protect. Where people share their own innovations on the web to get feedback and to reach real breakthrough. Where you have average citizens like you and me reporting political incidents in real time through Hushaydi or CrowdMap, and people trust them. Where you have women assaulted who reported through HarassMap, and this information is valuable, more than anything sometimes which is in the media. Where people share cars, dogs, apartments, where we went from a very horizontal society to from a vertical society to an horizontal one, from property to shared, like Hannes said in the co-working place, from this competition to this collaboration. And this tremendous shift is all based on trust. The question is, how do you do it? How do you generate trust? There are different recipes that we saw this morning. But what I think is that at the end of the day, mostly you generate trust by trusting yourself. This is not rocket science, right? But since we said that trust was a social currency, a virtual one, because we can't touch it, yes, we can exchange it. I give you my trust, you give you mine. We can lose some of it on the process. But this virtual currency, it's actually easier to start in life with a credited account. And it will be easier to pass it on. I had this enormous chance. I had loving parents. And these, as Mary Gordon says, when you feel loved, you feel worthy. So I had this chance to believe that I could do anything I wanted, even be president if I wished to, because I was loved. So everybody didn't have this chance, this initial gift. But the good news is that trust is contagious, and it's highly contagious. So I want to spread my trust to people who may not have the self-confidence to reach their full potential, especially women who may not benefit from the same visibility, the same contacts, the same access to funds, especially entrepreneurs from emerging markets who may not benefit from the same trust. We all have gems to share. I want to spread my trust to you, to Tunisia, to young people from Tunisia, so that you believe that you do have the power to make the best for this country's future. To decide to trust is difficult. It's a personal decision, an everyday struggle with your doubts and fears. To believe that even when you're lost in the dark, you're actually weaving a loom that will be revealed by the light of dawn and will show a beautiful masterpiece. I realize now that if it hadn't been for my mom, I would not have the guts to be here and to set up my own projects. And if she hadn't died, I wouldn't be aware of the shortness, the urgency, and the unpredictability of life we cannot waste doing things we're not fully passionate about. So, whatever you dream of doing, all of you, each of you, do it. Start it now. Trust yourself. Trust the others. Do not let fear blind your judgment. Keep on gambling. Let trust rule your life and multiply your opportunities.